Welcome back to International Air. In the last roundtable discussion, we asked our guests about their perspectives on the new president, Barack Obama, compared to the previous president, George W. Bush, in terms of healthcare, foreign policy, and education. For tonight's roundtable discussion, we will ask our guests a question that has been on the minds of many people. It is not a secret that North America has been involved in many wars against countries outside of its borders in the name of peacekeeping. So therefore, our question is, should the United States police the world? But before we cut to a commercial break, we asked a couple of students outside the studio what they thought.
The first thing that occurs to my mind when you ask me this question is, who gives the right to any nation to control the future of other nations? In other words, if we are talking about the United States, having power, having weapons doesn't mean that you can control other cultures or other civilizations. When we are talking about Democrats or Republicans here in the United States, I don't think there exists a big difference. There are differences concerning the internal issues in the United States, like the education, the healthcare, gay marriages, all these things. But when we talk about American foreign policy in the world, we are talking about the same strategies, but maybe there are changes in the tactics, which is like flipping around with the world or with words or playing with words. This means that the multinational companies, the oil, the pharmaceutical, the weapon multinational companies are governing the world, and they are located in the United States, and they are governing who comes to office, whether the Democrats and the Republicans. This is what I think. And we saw that in Iraq and Palestine. I mean, murdering and killing, massacring all those thousands of people doesn't mean that you can change the normal socioeconomic track of humanity. I mean, there exists a socioeconomic track, a normal socioeconomic track for humanity that has been followed throughout thousands of years. Cultures and civilizations are accumulative. You can't just change them within months or within years, or even if you possess power. So with the neoconservatives, a Greater Middle East initiative that's taking place, or that was going to take place, because I think it's failing apart. So it was going to take place in the Middle East. I think cultures and civilizations are, as I said, accumulative. You can't change them by having weapons or by having power. You can kill people, you can massacre people, but ideologies and ideas do not die. They are something eternal. So I just want to say that countries or cultures that exist thousands of years ago are not that easy to change. People in that part of the world do not want to live the way the American people have or the American people want. So it's really who gives the right for one nation to impose its own cultural patterns on others and want to change them by power. As I said, you can kill people, but you can't kill ideas. Ideologies just remain forever.
When you say police the world, if we should police the world, I think we should have a say. I don't think we should take our guns. That's different kind of police. You know, you're more like a mall cop instead of like, a regular police officer, because you don't have the real gun, you have a taser. I think we shouldn't, I don't think we should use force in any of our situations outside of America. I think in America, I mean, if we have a problem, obviously you're going to need to use your guns and force, but I don't think that's the way to go outside of America. But when you say, should we go over and stop somebody from massacring their own people? Now, I think we have to go over and stop. I think, that's just not how it should be, referring to the Holocaust. I didn't think that was right. And I think it's a good thing that we actually got involved. And I think now it's a good thing. But really, when you think about Vietnam, when you think about Iraq and Afghanistan, I don't feel good about it whenever I think about it. So, and I don't really know why we're there. I don't really fully understand the reason why we went.
I think at this point it's a little too late. If we were going to stop policing the world, it was something that needed to be done a long time ago. Because at this point, if you stop policing the world, to the extent that we are at least, then then I think it opens it up for danger because a lot of people already dislike us to this point. So I think at this point it's somewhat necessary, but to the extent that we're doing it, I don't think it is necessary. Like most of America's budget, it seems like, is spent on military costs because we are policing the world. We're worried about everyone else's problems, and we're not taking care of our problems here at home. We've got a lot of issues. It's not that it's bad here, but we could make it a lot better if we just concentrated on ourselves and focused on ourselves and working on our education, working on stuff like just everyday society, taking care of our society's ills before we worry about other society's ills.
Do you find yourself bored on Wednesday nights? Sitting at home with nothing to do and no one to do it with? Well, you need to come check out the Student Association of Broadcasters. SAB meets every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. in room 123 Whiteside Hall. In SAB, you'll interact with people full of energy and lots of fun. To find out more about SAB, contact President Casey Cobb at psusab@hotmail.com. Or come down to room 123 Whiteside Hall and have a ball this Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Okay, we're back to the roundtable discussion, and this week we're going to discuss a question that we've talked about in class that has been derived from our readings of Stephen Holmes' book, The Matador's Cape, and in light of a recent resignation of Matthew Ho, a U.S. official who says it may be wise for us to pull out of Afghanistan or not start. So the question is this: should the United States be responsible for policing the world? And I open up the floor for my students.
I know, maybe it's obvious for me. I don't think the States has the right to be policing the world, and maybe it has the power. Maybe the incident of the 9/11 thing had an impact on it, but invading Iraq and going to Afghanistan and trying to find the terrorists and just waste of time, and still it's not their right to police the world.
I think it's a complicated question because if a country goes somewhere and think they have the right to, I don't know, interfere in the other culture, it's like a new crusade. So I think that is important of we all be aware that we can be different, but we all worth the same. That's what I think.
I think this question is more about culture, and each country have their own culture, and like the United Nations, they demand other countries to interfere in wars between two different countries. This, I think, it's okay, but when United States go inside one single country and try to change, this is bad because who knows what is right and what is wrong? Who say this is right? No, this is wrong. What's black and what's white? United States have a high rate of suicide, so the Americans not satisfied with their own lives, with their own culture. So let's ask for another country come here, make a war, kill lots of Americans, and put another different culture here because the Americans are not satisfied with the American lifestyle. Like the United States doesn't made research about like in Afghanistan or Iraq, the people are happy or not with the government. So let's make a war and change the government there. No one asked it.
Okay, so what we're saying is it's important for any time the United States or any country goes into another country, we should not assume that our worldview is going to coincide with their worldview. Well, let's hear from an American, a North American.